Hello, and welcome to Plan to Peak Health and Human Performance video blog. I am coach and metabolic health practitioner Peter Cummings, and today I'd like to talk about hydration and electrolytes for endurance athletes. This video blog connects with an article that I wrote on my regular blog regarding optimal performance for endurance athletes in the consideration of hydration and electrolytes. It's very important to understand that hydration and electrolytes go hand in hand, and that you can overdo hydration in the form of water as it creates a situation known as hyponatremia or low blood sodium levels. So let's get into this. So it's important to make sure that you balance both the amount of water that you're taking in with proper amount of electrolytes. As we sweat and we urinate, we lose sodium through these mechanisms. And there's at time periods when we're losing a little bit more sodium than that may be optimal. So as we're taking in hydration, we have to be cognizant of the time periods where it may be important to take in a little bit more electrolytes due to our sodium losses, and make sure that we don't overconsume water in light of how much sodium you are also taking in. You may have seen or heard of athletes stumbling across finish lines at the Ironman or and ultra marathons. And in most cases, this is not a dehydration situation. It's a hyponatremic situation. When you see them unable to control their muscles, this is more than likely a low blood sodium level. And this can be very dangerous. You may also have heard of hazing incidents where pledges were asked to drink gallons of water. This creates the same type of situation, and it can be very dangerous. So we need to understand that different environmental factors, such as heat and humidity, will not only increase our sweat, but they'll increase our electrolyte loss. And this is important. We have to be acclimated to the conditions that we're considering performing in. You have to take clothing considerations as well. The reason that cyclists wear these light breathable materials is it evaporates quickly, and it's through evaporation that heat is lost. So clothing can be really important. And we have to understand that exercise intensity may have to be altered in times of extreme heat or humidity. This is an important consideration for training and in racing. So when we expose ourselves to warmer temperatures than we may be used to, perfect example, I've run training camps in Las Vegas in the month of February, and most of my athletes are in the Northeast. So they're dealing in January and February with very cold conditions. So our sweat actually becomes very heavy in salt during that time period. Because our kidneys recognize that losing sodium through our sweat during these time periods when we're not being exposed to a lot of heat, we're not just sweating on a regular basis, but only when we're working out, is not a problem. But you take that athlete and you put them in 70 degree, 75 degree heat, 80 degree heat in the month of February in the desert Southwest, and you get a situation where the acclimation process will not be able to catch up with what's happening. So that they're heavy sweaters with a lot of sodium. The sweat's got a lot of sodium in it. And the process of making that sweat more dilute doesn't really start to become complete between 5 and 7 days. Most of my athletes were out there for a week. So they were finally getting acclimated by the time they were going back. So as these changes take place, your blood volume changes, your heart rate changes, your core temperature changes, and your body starts to retain some of that sodium rather than bleed it out through your sweat. And therefore, you don't need to salt your food as much. But during the acclimation process, being exposed to conditions that aren't normal, even altitude can do this. You have to be concerned about your electrolyte balance. So how do we assess our hydration status? Well, you should pre and post load and pre and post observe, knowing how much weight you've lost. Pint is a pound a world around. If you've lost a pound of water, despite the fact that you drank, you can figure out your sweat rate. And this may help you at different times of year to determine what the proper amount of hydration and electrolytes are. You may be able to, if you really have a problem with this, if you have problems with cramping and things like that, you may want to look into testing. You can actually test the amount of sodium in your sweat through patches that can be put on your skin. And a simple way, but it's slightly outdated, is to look at your urine color. You may notice that after a ride where you become a little dehydrated, your urine color becomes quite dark. It used to be that we would tell people to keep drinking until it becomes more clear. But in using that approach often leads to hyponatremia, over watering, overhydrating yourself. So you have to be careful with that approach. I recommend a little less sugar and a little bit more electrolytes to my athletes because you can overhydrate, and having a little bit of salt in your water, potassium chloride, you will find that your drinks taste better when you're out there sweating. So it's an important consideration, the electrolyte balance that you're using. It goes hand in hand with your hydration strategies. So something to consider when you're considering acclimating, right? The initial stage, you have a higher electrolyte loss in both your sweat and your urine because your kidneys haven't figured out what's going on yet. So you will continue to lose electrolytes at a higher rate as you adapt. During this adaptation process, there will be changes as shown in that earlier slide, and you'll get better as time goes by. But it typically takes around 14 days to get full or completely acclimated. So during that acclimation process, it is a time period where you really have to pay attention or pay the price. And increasing your electrolyte intake during that time period is a great call. I used to tell athletes, salt your water, salt your food. And if ever you're feeling like you need more, you're probably right. So the key takeaways, and I do, this is a complex conversation. I do have the blog post, which has a lot more information in it than this video. But the key takeaways are maintaining proper balance between hydration and electrolyte intake is important. Do not oversimplify it with just water. You need more than just water. There's times you can get away with that, just water and electrolytes, and even avoiding the sugar. But there's times that a little bit of sugar water is not a bad idea. Personalize your strategies based on your needs, based on the conditions, based on whether you're going into an environment that's unlike what you're used to, and monitor your hydration status for any signs of imbalance or issues. Any type of cramping, anything like that, screams not enough electrolytes. It's not a water problem. Just a reminder, I offer a free consultation for anyone that is interested in our services. We also have regular consults at an hourly rate for people that just feel like they need consultation. I do create custom training plans for people that are looking to have just the guidance of a training plan. And obviously our premium service is our high performance coaching. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this and found it useful.